2 of your fingers will be gone before you reach the road. The chimp won't take long. The whole thing takes under a minute. But the minute changes everything, and 11 months from now, you'll still be relearning how to hold things. Minute 0. The plot runs right up to the trees. That's always been the problem with this particular corner of land. The western edge sits 50 feet from the forest, and things come out of that tree line sometimes. Usually it's nothing. A bird. The sound of branches moving before sunrise. But the cassava closest to the trees grows twisted and underfed, shaded wrong, and today you walked out before the heat came up to check on it. And you brought someone with you because the whole plot needs turning before the week's out and 2 people get it done faster than 1. You work east to west, back toward the trees. The morning is cool and still smells like last night's rain, and there hasn't been much conversation yet, just the sound of the tools and the birds waking up in the forest canopy and the damp soil turning over. You're carrying a hoe. The person you brought with you is a few rows over, working parallel, moving at about the same pace. You're the one who walks to the edge. The cassava closest to the tree line needs checking, and you step across the furrows to reach it, 50 feet from the forest, becoming 30, becoming 20. The trees are close enough now that you're in their shade, and it's noticeably cooler, and the smell changes to something richer and darker coming from the undergrowth. You hear the sound from inside the forest before you see anything. A short, hollow bark, low and sharp, almost like a cough but wrong. And then movement, low and fast at ground level, and then it's out of the trees. The chimp crosses the open ground before you fully process that you need to move. It runs on its knuckles, and then it rises, and it's as tall as your chest, and the rest of the distance closes faster than you could run from it. You don't get out of the way. There isn't time. The first bite takes your left hand. It came up because that's what your body does by reaching out when something comes at you, trying to create some space, and the jaw closes on your fingers and you pull back, which is the wrong thing, because pulling tears against the grip and what you feel is something give in a way that shouldn't give. Deep at the base of your fingers. The second bite is at your forearm, and then a blow to the side of your head that puts you on the ground, and the chimp comes down with you. It pins your wrist with a grip that feels mechanical, not like something alive. You try to pull your arm free and you can't, and there's nothing in you that matches what's holding you down. And the chimp screams so close you feel it in your chest. You try to think past the noise and figure out what to do with your free hand, your right hand, but the angle's wrong and any push you manage doesn't move it. The chimp bites at your hand again and the pain arrives all at once, white and total, and the sound that comes out of you is not a word. Your companion screams from a few rows over and throws something, a hoe handle, a rock, and it hits. The chimp lets go. It doesn't run. It stands and screams, once at you and once at your companion, and then it turns and walks back to the trees and steps into the dark between the trunks and is gone. The forest sounds the same as it did before. Birds, a branch moving somewhere. The forest just continues doing what it does. You get your right hand under you and push yourself upright. Your left hand is in front of you. The index finger ends below the knuckle where a finger should not end. The middle finger is bent the wrong direction and bleeding along its full length. You look at this for 1 second, and then you look at the path back through the plot. Minute 10. Your companion has your wrist and has already stripped off their shirt and is wrapping your hand in it, pulling the cloth tight. They're already moving, not running, just moving with direction, talking about the road. The cheek where it hit you is bleeding more slowly, and the bites on your forearm sting in a way that your body seems to be filing as the secondary problem. You understand from this that the hand is as bad as it looks. The walk back through the plot is half a mile. The path is uneven and wet from last night's rain, and you hold your arm raised above your heart because that's what they told you to do, and every step jars through your shoulder. The shirt wrapped around your hand goes dark through the cloth quickly. You don't look at it, you look at the path and you put one foot in front of the other and you talk. It's not far, we're almost there. To yourself as much as anyone. The adrenaline held the pain at a particular size for the first few minutes, but it starts to give by the time you're halfway back. The ache in the hand deepens and spreads, and you become aware of each individual place you were bitten. The hand, the forearm, the point where the cheek is swelling, like someone marking a map one point at a time. Your legs feel slightly wrong under you. Not buckling, just not quite fully yours. A chimp goes for the hands because the hands are what a rival uses to climb and grip and eat. It's not deliberate the way a plan is deliberate. It's older than that. The reflex that fires when something gets too close, and the jaw goes to what causes the most problems first. The animal that was in your space weighs perhaps 130 pounds. It has the grip strength of something much larger. Your fingers were just the thing it reached for, the same way it would reach in any fight along that tree line. Because the fight it had with you was the same fight it's always had. The cassava rows give way to open ground. The road is ahead. You reach it and stand on it, and there is nothing coming. Your companion keeps pressure on the hand while you wait. The cloth is wet through. There are insects in the air, and the sun is above the forest now, and it's warming up fast, and standing still is harder than walking was. You watch the road east and west and breathe and try to keep the dizziness at the edge of things from getting any larger. The blood that soaked through the shirt is drying at the edges and starting to pull against the cloth. You don't look at the hand, you watch the road. A truck comes from the east, going the right direction. Hour 1. The driver looks at the cloth around your hand and at your face, and he doesn't ask anything. He just drives. The truck bed is corrugated metal, and every pothole and rut in the road comes straight up through the floor and into your arm. And your companion braces your wrist across their knee and holds the pressure while the road does what it does. Shock, properly arrived, feels like someone has turned the brightness of everything down by a third. Both hands are cold, the hurt one and the good one. Not painful cold, but the kind of cold that means they've partly checked out from the rest of you. Your mouth is dry. The dizziness at the edge wants to get larger if you let it, so you breathe slowly and watch the ceiling of the truck and count the shadows of roadside trees going by. The shirt bled through twice between the field and the road. On the truck, it's at least holding. Hour 2. The clinic has 2 nurses and no surgeon, and this is clear within the first 2 minutes. One of them unwraps the hand and looks at it for a moment without changing her expression, and then explains what they can and can't do. The way you'd explain directions. The index finger is gone below the first joint. The middle finger needs pinning and reconstruction, and there is no one here who can do that. What they can do: close the cheek, dress the forearm, manage the bleeding, and get you started on antibiotics before the infection takes hold. Because the bacteria in a chimp's bite go deep and they come back, and an infected wound like this becomes its own separate problem layered on top of the first one. The shot, the stitches, the cleaning. These happen in sequence. 6 stitches on the cheek. The cleaning of the forearm bites is thorough in the way that cleaning deep punctures has to be. They give you something for the pain, and it takes about 20 minutes to work, and in those 20 minutes, you sit on the exam table and look at a point on the wall and listen to your companion in the waiting area through a thin curtain. When the medication starts, it doesn't remove the pain. It puts some distance between you and it. The shaking in your hand slows down and the dizziness settles, and when the nurse tells you that transport to the city hospital is being arranged, that you'll be seen tonight, you can hear this and understand it. You feel, briefly, like the worst part might be behind you. Like the thing that happened in the field was the worst of it, and everything now is just the way back. The nurse who stitched your cheek mentions the scar while she's cleaning up, in the same tone she's used for everything. Not unkindly, just as the next fact in the sequence. It'll be there. The chimp's bite on the cheek will leave a mark. You nod. The city hospital is 3 hours away. You leave as the sun is going down and arrive in the dark. There's a waiting area. You sit in it for a couple of hours while the hand gets redressed and someone figures out the order of things. By then, the medication from the clinic has worn through and the pain is back at full size, and you sit with it, and the fluorescent light stays the same no matter what time it is, and eventually someone comes and takes you through. The surgeon sees you in the morning. He explains the index finger plainly, with no extra words around it. It's gone. The bone at the base was too damaged for reconstruction to give back anything useful. The middle finger has 2 pins in it and months of physical therapy ahead of it, and the word he uses for the outcome is uncertain, which you understand to mean it might come back and it might not in roughly equal measure. The infection in the forearm is early and they're managing it. 3 weeks of antibiotics, the wound checked every other day to start. The people who don't make it to a hospital from something like this are easy to picture. Older, sicker, smaller, farther from a road. A companion who froze instead of through something. No truck going the right direction. You understand this without anyone spelling it out. The facts that lined up in your favor today could have stacked the other way. The most important ones were a matter of chance. The week that follows is the hospital. The week after that is home with your hand elevated on a pillow, learning by repetition which things need a left index finger you no longer have. The grip on a cup handle, the pull of a bootlace, the act of closing a fist the way a fist is supposed to close. Each time you reach with the left hand and find less than you expect, it takes a beat to reroute. Weeks later, you go back to the plot. Not to work, just to stand there. You walk out to the western edge, to the cassava that grows bent and shaded wrong near the tree line. The forest is quiet today. Birds, wind in the upper branches. Nothing else. You can see where you went down. The soil in that corner is still slightly disturbed, the furrow still broken, though it's settling back toward level. Your companion follows but stops a few rows behind you at the edge of the open ground. Your hand is wrapped and held close at your side. The scar on your cheek pulls slightly in the morning air because it's still new. You stand at the edge and look at the tree line for a minute, maybe a little longer, and then you turn and walk back through the rows. You'll come back here to work the plot. You don't have a choice about that. But from here on, before you step toward the tree line for any reason, before you cross the last row, before the shade of the forest reaches your face, your eyes will already have gone there. Not because you made a rule about it, just because that's where they go now. Every morning you stand on this land, some part of you that isn't quite thinking about it will already know exactly how many steps it is to where the trees begin. And that's it for today's survival adventure stories. That was pretty crazy, right? Well, it gets worse. The next story is even scarier than this one. You really need to see it. Just click the video right now. You won't believe what happens.